I bet I drill a clean hole in somebody today.
As we conclude Season 1 and start Season 2, players are once again anticipating the next lineup of characters that will be making their way into the game. Now, about halfway during Season 1, there was this conversation that arose, which was, should Tekken 8 reveal DLC all at once like Street Fighter 6, or one at a time? And I hosted a poll around the time of Evo Vegas to see what the players wanted. Since that poll, a lot of things have happened. Clive, I feel, was a real turning point for this whole discussion. A lot of players really invested into the Battle Pass, expecting, some of the greatest characters in the franchise to be there. Armor King, Miguel, Julia, Bob, Fakaram, Kunimitsu. There is so many characters who are amazing, and they're gone. And people purchase Season 1 expecting those characters to be there, because why wouldn't they be? And then now here we are in Season 2, and some players are doing the same thing again, but then some players are not. A lot of people feel like they've been burned, and they're tired of that feeling, and they're trying to push the Tekken developers to be like the other fighting games, which are revealing all at once.
So Harada chose to touch on this subject, but some people are mentioning about whether we talk about all the characters at once before the pass goes on sale. Some people seem to be confused about how this works. It's not the case that Steam requires us to announce the specific details. It's more about we have to say it's a character or what kind of category or these kind of things.
As it pertains to fighting games, what the impact was looking like it was going to be is that whenever Tekken was trying to sell a season pass or something like expansion, they have to clearly state names, characters, stages, everything. And not only was that conversation happening for Tekken, but it was happening for every game. And Steam quickly came out with a second response that clarified all of it. And they said, in fact, that you do not have to say the characters' names. You can say 4 characters, no names, and that's perfectly fine. You can say 2 stages, no names, and that's perfectly fine.
Do you like the recent trend of saying all the characters right at the start? Up until now, Harada and myself have been going to events since like the 90s, and we've seen that the fans always kind of really enjoyed waiting for the next character to be revealed and to see that on the big stage. All of this stuff was something it seems like people were enjoying, is why we're kind of continuing to do it this way. But he's just concerned, like, is that like an old man way of doing it? We need to adapt to the times and just say everything at once. Even though it might not be as exciting. We just want to hear what your thoughts are on the topic. So I guess he's reading the chat. Feel free to express them.
If I had to explain why players are suddenly starting to shift and are requesting to see everything at once, 1, you could talk about the price increasing. 2, you could talk about their base roster has a lot of characters on there that should not be there. Panda, Shahid, Zafina, and you can even say like Leo and a couple other names, right? And as a result of that, a lot of the characters who should be base roster has been kicked off to the DLC slot. And now players don't want to purchase every pass hoping and wishing Harada goes on stage and say Armor King. We just want to know where Armor King is at. And then if he's not there, we're going to skip out on it. Like, a lot of people wouldn't have bought Season 1 if they knew Season 1 was the characters. And that kind of goes back to this mindset of players feeling like they're robbed at the end of the day. And I do understand, like, a lot of players have this sense of like anticipation, and they want to see and they want to be hyped and they want to believe. Some people will buy any character or anything and they don't have a main, they don't have a character, they just will play everything. But as for the people who specifically are looking for a couple of characters, they're just tired of being crushed, tired of being lied to. And also what I think switched as well is the way that developers do things. Now they're trying to strategically plan out season passes to make the most money possible, where in the past they were just cramming the season pass with banger characters. Now they're like, oh, let's put this character here. Oh, let's put that. Oh, let's put this character back over there in the next season. So they have another reason to buy the next season pass. That's what I think they're going to do really with Tekken 8, is they're going to try to make sure that every season pass has a super popular character. And when you talk about getting into season 4, season 5, you're going to be waiting forever for a popular character. But it's all, what I believe, in the hopes of getting people to continue spending money. That is what changed. Live service.
We personally kind of still prefer the method we've always been using for several instances, because we're all in the same area, or at the same time we can enjoy it together. But then also It allows the development team to actually show you footage of the character in motion with visuals that are really representative of how they will look when they're released, rather than seeing some kind of rough sketch or image of a character and not even having any idea about what makes them cool. So that's the thoughts on why we like to do it the current way. But we're still open to your feedback.
This is an interesting point. The developers prefer to continue doing it one at a time because it allows them to focus on one specific character and fully develop them, identity, personality, moveset, everything, and then push them out and then focus on the next character. But if they do all at once, they feel that they can't necessarily do that. And the example that I would give to support just them, if we're just, being fair and honest, to support them, I think Fahkumram is a perfect example of that. Michael Murray said when developing Fahkumram, he started out as one type of thing, but then they went and changed so much stuff about the character. They added new moves, new this, new that. They basically revamped the character totally to where he was something else. So they felt like they had to make him something else. And that is when the character Fahkumram was born. But if you think about what he's saying there, he is saying that Fahkumram originally was not supposed to be that. He was probably supposed to be Bruce. So if we had this all at once model in Tekken 7 Season 3, we would have Bruce right now. They probably would have showed us Bruce at the start, and they would have been working on the character, and they would have just continued with Bruce.
But he said that since in the comments it looks like it's kind of a split opinion on the matter, maybe he's no longer a relevant judge on this issue, so he's going to outsource the decision to Yasuda, who's a bit younger than us. Harada did bring up a good point, though, that if we do choose to mention all the characters at the start, it is kind of not very reasonable to then be like, hey Harada, why aren't you on stage at Evo showing this some awesome new thing if everything is announced from the start? So, there's expectations to manage there.
If we shift over to Michael Murray's Twitter, he did a poll about this a couple of days later, which also shows a little bit of their bias in the fact that they want to continue to do one at a time. Per the Tekken Talk Live, do you want to know the characters in the whole season pass ahead of time with just simple sketches, or like the current big reveals at Evo, etc.? The way that they're phrasing this is very differently from what the players were originally asking. We were asking for basically what Street Fighter does. Street Fighter shows a screenshot of all the characters, and then they follow it up with like a anime, like cartoon style trailer that shows all the characters interacting with another. But the developers of Tekken, they feel like if they show any concept sketches, then there's no reason to do it at Evo. So when you look at the results of this poll and you see it's a 64% versus a 36% in favor of knowing ahead of time, the question that I then pose is this enough of a margin to change the way that they're currently doing things and do it all at once? I did a poll on the YouTube channel a little bit later as well, and the results are pretty much the same as Michael Murray's. To go back to the poll that I did 6 months ago, 7 months ago, to see it being so close, neck and neck, 50-50, but then as time goes on, more people are saying all at once, you would have to wonder if this trend would continue. What I also want to note is some of the big voices in Tekken. They also weighed in on this conversation. Rip says, I like the big reveals. If people want to know what's coming, just give them the names with no concept art or anything. That way you can still have the big reveals / trailers, etc. Tasty Steve says, please, proper reveal. It's absolutely no fun otherwise. Plus, more dev time to make the reveals something special in my opinion. Looking at some of the most liked messages on my poll, I saw a comment that suggests revealing the returning characters all at once, but the new and guest characters should be kept a secret until the close to release. Personally, I like this method. This discussion also took place on Reddit, and the top comment on that says, I personally like to be surprised, but I understand it's a lot of money for potential disappointment. I think it's good to compromise, reveal all legacy characters at once, but leave the newcomers and guest characters a mystery while making it clear it's a new character or a guest character beforehand. So it seems like this is the route that everyone wants to go. When you look across many different platforms that's all hosting this discussion, the top comments is all saying the same thing. And I think this is the message we should continue to push to the developers.
Also, another homework for you guys is please let us know your thoughts on if you like the reveal method up until now, where we have various events throughout the year that people look forward to, or if you want to know all the characters from the start of Season 2 right away. Harada and I